Namaste students, I am Meera Sinoja and together we are going to learn business environment. Now before we start with the subject business environment, let us revise what is business and what is environment, and we'll try to understand both the terms separately. So the first term is business. So what is business? As we all know, you might have studied the same thing in the school also. What is business? Business, the simplest definition of business is any activity which is carried out with the motive of profit. No doubt there are many features of business. Say it is an economic activity which is carried out on a continuous basis and so on. But the simplest meaning of business is that business is any economic activity which is carried out with the motive of profit. Now let us try to understand what is environment. The simplest meaning of environment is it is our surrounding. Alright, so whatever things we find in our surrounding that makes our environment. Now let us try to understand that what is business environment. So business environment refers to a combination of all those factors which influence the business. Now see, whenever we talk of environment always affects us. Whether you are an individual or you are a business, you are always getting affected by environment. In the same way, business also gets affected by environment. So, business environment means what? It is the combination of or a sum total of all the factors. Say the factors can be economic factors, maybe social factors, maybe government policies, maybe even the natural factors. So, whatever factors that are into the surrounding of business and they are having influence on the working of the business, they make up the total business environment into which it has to function. And the most important thing is that environment is something on which, especially I'm talking about the external environment. The external environment is something on which we do not have any control. You simply have to adjust. You don't have any control on the environment. It applies to both individual as well as business. Now, let us take a very simple example. Say if it is your birthday, you are very nicely dressed up, you are just ready to go out for your birthday party, and suddenly it starts raining so heavily, and you are just worried that your new birthday dress is going to get wet because of rain. So you cannot say no to rain. Oh rain, please stop. It's my birthday. I want to celebrate. I won't be able to have my birthday party and birthday celebration because of you. Rain is not going to stop. You will have to adjust, isn't it? In the same way, business is always going to get affected by the environment. And why? Because we do not have any control. What simply we will have to do is we'll have to adjust with that. कि अगर बारिश आ रही है तो रेन कोट पहन के बाहर जाओ, अम्ब्रेला लेके बाहर जाओ, कार लेके बाहर जाओ, या तो कोई ऐसी जगह पर बैठो जहाँ पर रूफ है. Alright, so you will have to find the options. You don't have that option to control the environment. No doubt, we'll learn when we would be discussing business environment in detail. We'll also discuss that business is also having some influence on the society, but not now. Right? It is having some power to influence the society, but at present what is more important for us is to understand that how business gets affected by the environment. So what is business environment? Business environment is the combination of all the factors whether they are economic factors or non-economic factors which influence the business. Clear? There are so many factors. You can also do the brainstorming. You can think on your own that what would be the factors that would be affecting the business. Say any business, suppose you are running a restaurant, and into the present condition, as we all know, people are locked down, people are staying home. We do not prefer to go out for maybe lunch or dinner. So if you are running a restaurant, definitely it is a tough time for you. So how you are going to deal with that? And that's what is very important. Business environment is all about studying and analyzing all these factors, and that is always going to help a manager to find out the best solutions. Now see, the example what we have taken, right? Suppose if you are running a restaurant and you are finding that you don't find the people visiting to your restaurant for taking dinner. Now, what do you find? You might be watching televisions and you might be finding one advertisement Domino's is giving. What Domino's is giving? 100% safe delivery of pizza at your doorstep. So that is what you will have to learn from the environmental analysis and applying your managerial skills. So this is why it is very important that you must have the clear cut understanding of this particular thing. All right. Now, as we have seen that business environment refers to the combination of some factors. Now, what are those factors? Now, see, certain factors are internal, whereas certain factors are external. Now see, here it is very important that we must understand the difference between both. Why? Because internal environment would be something, or internal factors would be like we'll always be able to control. Those factors are controllable factors. What we discussed earlier, we have seen that environment is something which is not controllable. But yeah, internal environment or internal factors are definitely controllable, and external factors are something which is beyond your control. So factors can be categorized into two things: internal factors and external factors. Now internal factors are within the control of the business. Now let us take one example. Suppose, say, if right now we do not have the lectures at college, you people are not coming, right? We simply attend the video sessions. But suppose if it is a classroom and maybe some disturbances are going on, then a teacher would always be having the control over it, right? I would be able to request you people not to talk internally, and we would be able to control that. But suppose there is a lots of traffic near our college, and we always face the noise pollution, and that is disturbing our session, which is something which is beyond my control. That even if my class is going on, our class is getting disturbed, and lots of noise pollution we are facing because of traffic, and still we do not have the solution. We'll just have to adjust. I'll just have to take a pause, and I'll have to stop my lecture for some time until and unless the traffic gets clear and you people are able to listen me. So external factor is something wherein you cannot go and you can request कि भाई मेरा class चल रहा है, please आप लोग horn मत बजाइए. So we'll not be able to do that. As we had seen in the case of rain, कि बर्थडे है तो रेन को नहीं बोल सकेंगे कि भाई आज मत आओ, मेरा बर्थडे है, मेरी पार्टी ख़राब हो जाएगी. In the same way, even I cannot say by traffic, my lecture is going on, you are disturbing me. So this is how environment is always going to be, I mean external environment is going to be uncontrollable. Sorry for little disturbance. But so what we discussed? Again, this is environment, affecting my video lecture. Okay, so what are those factors? We have seen that internal factors are controllable, whereas external factors are not controllable. Why? Because they are beyond the reach of the company. The same thing we can find in the business environment. This is what internal factors and external factors, what we have seen. That was for an individual, that rain was an external factor for us, or maybe the decrease or the fall in the demand for restaurant was an external factor. The class was an internal factor. In the same way, we find that business environment is also having two types of factors, internal factors and external factors. Now, what do you find on the left side is internal factors, and I have listed few of the internal factors. They are mission and objectives of the company, financial and human resources, its management, internal power relationship, company image and brand equity, research and development capability, and so on. And some of the external factors, they are very, very important to be kept in mind, because they are something which are out of our control. So they are always government policies. We can find that petrol and diesel prices are increasing day by day, and people are really facing a lots of problem of survival, but still we do not have any control. So government policies are something which is out of our control. Legal factors, social and cultural factors, natural resources, demographic factors, and even international factors. So these are all the external factors that are going to affect the business. We are not discussing all these factors in detail at present, because whenever we are going to study the types of business environment, all these factors we are going to discuss in detail. All right. So right now, what is important for you all is that business environmental factors are categorized into two categories: internal business environmental factors and external business environmental factors. Internal would always be controllable, whereas external are uncontrollable. And on the same thing, based on that, we find that there are two types of environment, right? As we have seen that the factors are categorized into two categories. In the same way, environment is also categorized into two categories: internal environment and external environment. But before we get started, let's discuss something very interesting, and it is something that we must know before we start with the environmental analysis. You might be knowing, if you might have studied this particular concept in management somewhere, and that is SWOT analysis. What is SWOT? S, W, O and T. They are having a great impact on any business. What is that? It is the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So it is something which is strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats of the firm are getting studied under this particular analysis. Now suppose if you take any example of the firm or even an individual, we'll find that each one of us would be having some strength. Maybe somebody is good at cooking, maybe somebody is good at singing, maybe somebody is good at say typing, somebody is good at sports. Oh, my external environment is affecting to my session. All right, coming back to the point, so strength would be your capability. Maybe we are good at cooking or music or singing or dancing or sports. Now what are your weaknesses? Just think of that. Millie, किसी को तो मिलेगा ही नहीं, मुझ में कोई वीकनेसेस ही नहीं है, आई एम द बेस्ट। ऐसे लोगों को अपनी वीकनेसेस नहीं मिलती है। मिली सबको? ऑलराइट, सो वीकनेसेस कुड बी आई एम स्लो, I am short tempered, or I am not good at cooking, I am not good at dancing, or I am not good at sports, I am not good at technology. So whatever are your limitations are your weaknesses. Now what we can do for that? Now as we all know, right, we people are human beings and we always would be having some limitations, and definitely we are God's creation, so we are always having some capabilities or strength also. So if you know your strength as well as your weaknesses, what are you going to do? Now see, business environment study करने से पहले it's very important that you do the SWOT analysis of yourself. Okay, today do one thing. आज आपको ये सेशन ख़त्म होने के बाद एक टास्क करना है, and what you are going to do that is you are going to do your own SWOT analysis. आपकी खुद की स्ट्रेंथ, आपकी वीकनेसेस, फ्यूचर में आपके लिए अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ और थ्रेट्स, ये सब आपको लिस्ट डाउन करना है. I am explaining what are opportunities and threats, but that's what is your task for today. Do it. It would be very interesting and would be very useful for you in the future also. Alright, so strength you are going to know now. Now we can also do one thing, right? What you can do is sometimes we say कि मुझे पता नहीं है कि मेरी capabilities क्या है, where I am good at. I don't know. So we can also do it. You can ask your friends and they would always be knowing that what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths. Or for a daughter-in-law, you can always ask a mother-in-law. She would always be the best in finding her weaknesses. स्ट्रेंथ पूछनी है तो अपने मम्मी पापा से पूछ लेना, वीकनेसेस पूछनी है तो मदर इन लॉ से पूछ लेना, बहुत सारा लिस्ट मिल जाएगा. लेकिन आपके केस में अभी ये पॉसिबल नहीं है. Alright, but in future, whenever you want to work on this SWOT analysis, you can always do this. You can use these resources. Anyways, it was a joke apart. Coming back to the point. So, strength are the capabilities of an individual or of a firm. Weaknesses are the limitations. Opportunities are the kind of chance you are going to get from the environment. પેલું કે ને ગુજરાતીમાં કે લક્ષ્મી ચાંદલો કરવા આવે, so that is the opportunity you are getting in the life. And what are threats? Threats are the challenges we have to face. So for opportunities, you will always have to work on the environmental analysis. If you are good at a particular thing, suppose this is your strength, कुछ भी, whatever is your strength, just try to work on the opportunity what you can have. મેં વોટ્સએપમાં એક બહુ સરસ મેસેજ, ઇનફેક્ટ ઇટ વોઝ એન આર્ટિકલ વોટ આઈ હેડ રેડ ઓન વોટ્સએપ. There was a dadi almost 85 years old, and she was alone. She was staying alone, and she did not have any work to do. She was really very much fed up of her life. And one thing what she was knowing was she was very good at making burfis. And once when she went to her daughter's home, and her daughter asked, okay, mom, why don't you start making and offering it to our neighbors, and we try selling these burfis what you are making. And the lady, okay, she said कि fine, चलो try करते हैं. I would be getting some activity, I would be getting active, मुझे कुछ काम मिलेगा, अच्छा लगेगा. Then she tried making some burfis, packing into small packs, and started offering to the neighbors. slowly and steadily, it was like she was getting amazing response from the neighborhood, and then she started her own shop where she was offering burfis, and she was getting tremendous response from the market. So opportunities are not like कि अभी कॉलेज कंप्लीट किया, अभी बिजनेस करना है, जॉब करनी है. Opportunities can come at any time in your life. See that Dadi's life was around 80-85 years she started doing business, and I don't remember exactly, but it was mentioned in that article that she also won the award of best women entrepreneur. So that's something we can always term as the opportunity. Yeah. And threat. Threat are the challenges you'll have to face. Now, the simplest kind of threat we can say is of competition. Everywhere into any business, in our life, we are always going to face this problem. Competition is a threat. But for that, what we'll have to do? We'll have to work on the threat, and we'll have to work on the strength, and you'll have to empower your strength that threats are not going to affect you. So that is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Clear, everyone? And what we are going to do today is we are going to list down our own strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Opportunities, what you can think of that in future, what you can do with your strength. Alright, say if you are good at cooking, then start your restaurant, could be an opportunity. If you find, that is fine, otherwise opportunity is something which is not compulsory. And threat, if you can list down. Now, threat is something which is going to be common for a majority of us, because competition is something, government policies are something, political and legal factors, natural factors. So all these are something that we all will have to face. Alright, so threats may be common to all of us, but opportunities are going to be different. So if you cannot work on much on O and T, but do work very hard on S and W, strength and weaknesses. Alright, are you going to do that? See, I tell you, even if you are not supposed to show your homework to me, but this is something, this kind of analysis is something that is always going to be helpful in your life. You must know what you are good at and where you need to improve. Because see, if you know your strength, what will happen? That you can still work even harder to make it more powerful. That suppose if you are good at singing, you can always have a career in singing. So work on that. Start learning music, classical music, western music, vocal, instrumental, whatever you like. But for that you should know કે સારેગામા પધનિસા મને આવડે છે કે નથી આવડતું. Alright, so if you know your strength, definitely it is going to help you out a lot in your life. And even weaknesses at the same time is very important. If you know कि ये काम मुझसे बिल्कुल नहीं होगा, then we would be very sure that we are never going to enter into that particular line. Alright, let's move ahead. I hope that you people are clear with SWOT analysis. Okay. Now let us come to again that how SWOT analysis is going to affect the business, or how it is connected to the business environment. Alright, so as we all know that strength and weaknesses are something which are from within. हमारे खुद के अंदर जो चीज़ें पड़ी है, either in form of a strength or in the form of a weakness. So strength and weaknesses are concerned with the internal environment, and opportunities and threats come from the external environment. Business environment poses two challenges to the firms. In fact, first is not actually a challenge. It is exploiting the opportunity. It is all about grabbing a chance. And second is to cope with the environmental threat. So it is actually a challenge what you will have to face. So strength and weaknesses are concerned with internal environment, whereas opportunities and threats come from the external environment. And internal environment, as we all know, is more controllable, whereas external is not controllable. We'll just have to adjust with the external environment. Now here I have given a diagram. You can see that how SWOT analysis is going to affect the business decision making, because you can see the diagram, right? The total business environment has been made up of these 4 elements: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So whenever you would be doing business, your entire environment is going to tell you about this particular thing, that you will always have to do this analysis on a continuous basis. You will always have to have an eye on the environment, because it keeps on changing, and that's why it is very, very important that you will have to do SWOT analysis. Now, as we all know that business environment is divided into 2 categories: internal environment and external environment. And again, we also know that internal factors are controllable, while external factors are uncontrollable by the business. Now here I have given a diagram which shows that how business environment gets divided into different categories. Now you know 2 main categories, right? Business environment is divided into 2 main categories, and they are internal environment and external environment. And we also know what are the internal environment, internal environmental factors. They are always controllable, and external environment is always going to be out of our control. But still, certain things are there into the external environment, as I had told you earlier, right? That business would also be affecting to the environment, though it has not been given into your books, it has not been mentioned anywhere into the business environment. But yeah, it is true that as environment affects business, business can also affect the environment. We'll discuss it later on, right? Okay, so at present what we are discussing is business environment gets divided into 2 parts: internal environment and external environment. Internal environment has got certain factors like value system, mission and objectives of the firm, management structure and nature, internal power relationship, human resources, company image and brand equity, and some miscellaneous factors like physical assets and facilities, that is like maybe the production capacity, marketing resources, financial resources, the research and development what we are making. So that is miscellaneous factors, miscellaneous internal factors. All right, so here I have given you 7 main internal factors. All right. Now moving to external factors. External factors are again divided into 2 categories: micro and macro. Micro environment and macro environment. Now, as we all know that external environment is something which is always out of our control, but still it is divided into 2 parts, or the 2 different types of environment. One is a micro environment and another one is a macro environment. Now micro environment would always be very much closely connected to your business, something which is very close. It is external, but it is very close to your business. That comes under the micro. And macro is something which is 100% uncontrollable. Macro is not micro is not controllable, and macro is also not controllable, because they both belong to external environment. But micro, to some extent, you can make it in your favor. Micro is something like that. It's something which is very sensitive part of the external environment. So this microenvironment, the groups or the factors that are closest to our business. And what comes under that? Naturally, who are very much closely connected to our business? Obviously, first the customers, as we had seen the example of restaurant. Then the guests, those who are visiting our place, visiting our restaurant, they are our customers. Suppliers, the one who is going to provide us the raw materials and other resources. Say if you are running the restaurant, you definitely need the vegetables, you'll need the groceries, you'll need the crockeries, you'll need the furniture. So these are all suppliers. I'm sorry, my environment is affecting my lecture, but that's what we have to handle, we have to learn. Yeah, so where were we? We were at suppliers. Competitors, they are greatly affecting, and they are into the micro. And it is something like, as I told you, that it is not 100% controllable, right? Competitors to carry control, something like that. And it is as we have seen the different types of market, different types of market structure. Say it is perfect competition, or monopoly, oligopoly, or maybe monopolistic competition. You will have to face this as a challenge to your business. So competitors are again forming the part of micro environment. Public, now what is public? Public is, here we are taking public in form of certain groups. Say the local community, the people, those who are residing near your business. Say if you are talking about our college, so the nearby residence places could be the part of public. Even media is a part of public. So public means a different groups that are having a direct influence by your functioning. So if anyone who is getting affected by your business, not directly, right, because he is not a customer. Suppose you are running a school or a college and there is a residential home just next to your door, then it is very obvious that your neighbors are always going to face the noise problem whenever there is break, or whenever the students are coming to the school or college, whenever they are leaving or they are getting free and going back home. So at that time they are also going to face a traffic issues because of a school or a college. So that's what public means. All right, you can also say it's your neighborhood, the local community, the people, those who are getting affected by your work. Financiers, the people, those who are funding your business, they are also affecting the business. And the last micro environmental factor is marketing intermediaries. Marketing intermediaries are what? Marketing intermediaries are supply chain. Alright, so they are the wholesalers, retailers, traders, merchants. So these are all going to form the part of marketing channel or the channel of distribution, and that's how they are affecting to our business. If they are regularly supplying your product, then and only then your product will have good image into the market. So marketing intermediaries are the channel of distribution that is going to affect the supply to the market. So these are all going to make, or they are going to form our micro environment. And the last part of external environment is macro environment. Now what comes under macro? Something which is 100% out of our control, that comes under the macro environment. And they are economic environment, social and cultural environment, demographic environment, political and legal environment, natural environment, technological environment, and global or international environment. Now what comes under economic environment? Say the economic system. Indian economy is a mixed economic system. but say Russia is a communist country, or China is a communist country. So the economic system and how it affects. Suppose if USA is a capitalist country, then you can have all the resources of your ownership. Whereas if a country is a socialist country, or in other words, we can say they are communist countries, you cannot have the ownership of the resources, factors of production. You cannot have the ownership of your land. So economic system is always going to affect your business. Many other economic factors are also going to affect, say the level of economic development, the kind of economical crisis a country is facing, the financial condition of the country. So these are all kind of economic factors affecting to the development of country, and hence it is affecting to the development of our business too, right? Social and cultural factors. Now this is something which is having a great impact on a business. Why? Because society or the social factors and the cultural values of the society are something which are, you are, even if you are providing the best thing, but if it doesn't suit with the taste and preferences of the society is not going to accept. Say for example, say if you are into the business of say wedding clothes, maybe you're a fashion designer, suppose, and you are designing some beautiful outfits for a bride. But say if you are designing those all beautiful costumes, wedding costumes of black color, how many of Indian bride are going to go for it? That's a big question. Because even if they are the most pretty, they are the most beautiful, many parts of Indian states, they are not going to accept black as a good color. No doubt people are there, they also, they do not have any objection with the color. Such part is also there into the society, but what we'll have to do, we'll have to check with the majority of the part of the country. See, some people would be thinking, okay, black is okay, but that is okay for the parties, that is okay for the receptions, but it is not fine for wedding. So if you are designing a wedding cloth, probably majority of the Indian brides would preferring the shades of red, pink, orange, or maybe some pastel colors. Okay, so this is how, even being a fashion designer, simply the choice of color is getting affected by the society and the culture. The same thing applies to food. Gujaratis, especially Kathiawadis, some are, the kind of food that we cannot live without. Gujaratioનું national food, થેપલા, ગાંઠિયા, ઢોકળા, ખાંડવી. So that's something that is, the choice of food always gets affected by the culture, the food culture. Even the buttermilk culture, it's you will simply find it in a majority part of Gujarat, and that too in Saurashtra. You don't find much of the buttermilk culture. અને આપણે તો અહીંયા જમવાનું ચાલુ જ છાશથી થશે, પછી બીજી બધી વસ્તુઓ પ્લેટમાં આવશે. So this is how the society. Now see, as we had seen that you are going to start a restaurant. Now suppose if you are offering lunch, but you might have worked somewhere in Bangalore, and now you are opening your second branch in maybe in Rajkot, and if you do not offer buttermilk in lunch, people will not find yours as a good restaurant. Even if you are providing the best quality of food, you're not offering buttermilk. Alright, so this is how the social and cultural factors are going to affect the business, and something which is out of your control. અને આને બદલતા પેઢીઓના પેઢીઓ વહી જાય, જમાના વહી જશે, ત્યારે કદાચ આ વસ્તુ ચેન્જ થાય. And it may not change also. Now see, we can take one more sensitive example, that is for the preference of a boy child instead of a girl child. How much big issue it is, how much big problem it is. why it is a problem or why it is a preference for a boy child કે દીકરો હોય તો વંશ ચલાવશે. આપણને ખબર જ નથી કે આપણે કયું વંશ ચલાવીએ છીએ. હાર્ડલી 4 or 5 પેઢીના નામ ખબર છે. બટ સ્ટીલ right, this is something which is the society, and it is a mindset of the society which takes years and years, centuries and centuries to change. And now slowly and steadily, gradually, people have started understanding that દીકરી વાલનો દરિયો. હજી એટલું જ સમજાણું છે દીકરી વાલનો દરિયો. તોય હજી દીકરા માટેનો પ્રેફરન્સ તો એમને રહ્યો જ છે. ખાલી દૂધ પીતી કરતાં દીકરીને એમાંથી બહાર આવી અને હવે એટલું સમજાણું છે કે દીકરી વાલનો દરિયો છે. બટ સ્ટીલ પ્રેફરન્સ ઇઝ ધેર ઇવન ટુડે ફોર અ બોય ચાઇલ્ડ. કોઈ પણ રાજકોટના કે આખા કન્ટ્રીના કોઈ પણ રિનાઉન્ડ ગાયનેકોલોજીસ્ટને ત્યાં જાશો ને તો ત્યાં બારે મોટું બધું બોર્ડ લાગેલું હશે કે વી ડુ નોટ ડુ ધ sex verification of the child. I mean, before giving the birth, that whether it is a boy or a girl. આવું અમે ચેક નથી કરતા because the law does not allow us. And even if the doctor is going to do, it is definitely a punishable offense. All right. So this is again the culture affecting to the business. Now demography. Demography is something which is related to the, does anyone know? Demography is something which is related to population. Yes. So all the population related factors, maybe the standard of living, or maybe the men and women ratio, education ratio. So these are all coming under demographic factors. Political and legal factors, that is political stability, the law and order maintenance. So all these are going to affect our business to a great extent. Natural factors, the natural conditions, geographical conditions, so they are also going to affect the business to a great extent. Technological factors, the advancement in the technology, and the adaptability of the organization, that to what extent you are able to cope up with the current or the updated or upcoming technology. So that is also going to affect. Whenever the technology will change, your product will definitely go outdated, obsolete. So you will also have to cope with the changing technology. That's what we all are doing, right? As we are getting affected by some natural environment, that because of the attack of COVID-19, we people are staying home and simply attending the video lectures. So what we all are doing? We are making use of technological advancement into the education, that which we were not doing in the previous time. And last but not the least is the global or the international factor. So it is very, very sensitive, because it is always going to be a threat as well as an opportunity, that you are getting a global market where you can provide your product, you can offer your product for sale to the entire world. And on the other hand, because of globalization, other countries will also come to our country to sell their product. So it really becomes the question of survival, that how we are going to compete with the other products, other countries' products, and we are going to prove that how our product is better than the other products. We can take the recent campaign what government is running is going local, be vocal for local. So that is nothing but the example that we are facing the problem because of the globalization, and as we want to become Atmanirbhar, we are going for the Indian made product. So this is how the entire business environment is made up of internal, external, micro and macro factors. Definitely we are going to discuss each one of these factors in very much detail, because that's what is forming the entire unit. Your first unit has been made up of all these environmental factors. So this was just the brief of all this, and that's it from my side today. Thank you all. Have a nice day to all of you. Thank you.